It's a miracle, baby.
Yeah.
Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves.
We keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of the arguing and lying. So goodbye.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys had a wonderful Wednesday. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good overall. You guys know the main highlight of yesterday was recording the juice and also having a meeting with my quote-unquote business coach. Those were the main things of significance. Outside of that, it ended up being a do-nothing day, I guess you could say, or a weekend for me. Just spending time with NJ and that type of thing. But yeah, that's a lot of things going through my mind right now. But hey, man, I'm just going to go ahead and try to get into this juice. Because y'all know it's a Thursday, so your girl got to get ready to go to work, right? What got me to today's topic today, which is how to know your assignment. Well, I mean, I guess it goes without saying, y'all know that I've been on this whole quote-unquote pruning season / what's going to help me get to the next level / whatever we're going to call this particular moment in my life, right? And, I feel like I'm on the opposite end of this conversation of my quote-unquote inspiration. Because obviously I'm somebody that has too many goals, dreams, and passions, right? So, I mean, that can still be a confusing thing, right? But I guess this morning I took time to think about people that don't have any goals, dreams, passions at all, right? And they may be in the place where they're like, okay, I keep hearing that God has these gifts and talents and assignments, right, for everybody. But I can't resonate with it because I don't know what mine is. So for those people, that's pretty much where my inspiration came from this morning. I mean, I woke up a variety of times last night and all that different type of stuff. And yes, I came across verses that seemed to resonate and whatnot. But yeah, by the time I woke up this morning and I listened to the prayer meditation, that's pretty much what's on my heart and mind. Just kind of looking into this word assignment. And so my findings was interesting, but I hope that they would encourage and inspire you, whoever you may be, right? So let's get into it. Obviously, one of the first things I did was look up the word assignment. So the definition that I felt led to write down says a task or piece of work assigned to someone as part of a job or course of study. So yeah, and then I mean, even the second definition was, resonating and whatnot, but honestly, I think that's where it got kind of interesting because, again, to say assignment means to assign, it's kind of like, I guess I need to go deeper. And so, even though I did not write down each definition, what your girl ended up doing this morning was looking up assignment and then the word assign and then the word allocate and then the word appropriation. Or portion, excuse me. And so, yeah, you guys can do all that as well if you want, and if that will help you to understand the word assignment itself. But instead of sharing all that with you, I felt led to just go deeper about, again, what the Bible has to say about assignments. Now, again, I feel like it's very, very clear talking about the different types of assignments and that, again, we're all a part of the body and then we all have different jobs and different things like that. And that I've sat here and talked about that type of thing here on the juice. Who knows how many times, right? I gave, I feel like the perfect explanation some years ago where I felt like the Lord was showing me that, hey, again, every part of the body is important, and we can't be one part trying to do another part's job and things of that nature, right? But still, again, just thinking about those that are out there, right? I'm sure that there are people that are just completely lost with everything I'm saying right now. They're probably like, well, one, you might not know that the Bible say that. So obviously, in the Go Deeper section, there's plenty of verses about that I decided to, make sure was in the Go Deeper section today, that you can peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. Just about that part, about there being one body and multiple parts, and how we're all important and all those different things. So that's a whole nother juice by itself. But if you are wondering again what your assignment is and how to know what it is, things like that, like I said, I hope this will encourage you and inspire you. So here's a couple of verses that I felt led to write down this morning. One was Psalm 16 and 11. It says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life, in thy presence in fullness of joy, and thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore." I was reminded of the other day, when I read this verse this morning. There's another verse that I shared a couple of days ago, I think it was. It might have been in the juice that was about clarity. That sounds right. But anywho, basically there was a verse in that quote unquote study that was talking about, again, God's word being a light to, our path and things like that. And I guess I was reiterating again that the reason why we don't know who we are, right, is because we don't know God. And I know I say this all the time, it's one of those things. Y'all probably tired of hearing me say it. But, I mean, again, I do truly believe that it starts there, right? We need to first get to know the Lord, so then we can get to know ourselves and our assignment and all those different type of things. My husband and I have been having some interesting conversations lately. I'm reminded in this moment. I won't get too deep or nothing, but I'm kind of reminded of my own journey, honestly. And y'all know, y'all done heard about it over and 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 over again. The cultivation period, yes. Now, sure, yes, the cultivation period, I was focused on dating and love and marriage and all the things, right? But it also was a deep dive into what God wanted me to do. And, now, I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm doing what God wants me to do, even though there's still some confusion here and there, obviously, about different things. But for the most part, for example, doing this, I feel like is very purposeful, right? When I'm having conversations for the GSL Talk Show, I feel like it's very purposeful. When I'm at the church and, I'm doing the things that I do there, I feel like, I'm anointed, appointed, and assigned, right, to do the different things. But was this my quote unquote dream? Like when I was growing up and things of that nature, like, when I, had this inkling in my heart to become an actress and things like that, did I know that it was going to lead me here? I would say the answer is no. I mean, again, when you think about acting and things of that nature, people think New York, they think LA, they think movies, they think Broadway. That's what people think about. Now, was I thinking about those things? Not necessarily. I mean, after college, I was kind of like debating about it a little bit and thinking, which way should I go? And I was leaning towards New York at that time, and but ended up in Florida. And then, there obviously ended up coming back here to Georgia and things like that. And so I guess I share all of that to say that sometimes, right, again, your quote unquote assignment may be different from what you thought it was going to be. I feel like I have these conversations with friends all the time, and I feel like my husband's on his journey right now as well with that thing. But I think the beautiful thing about what I'm experiencing is that each and everything that I have done in life has led up to where I am, right? And I'm using those gifts and things to do what I'm currently doing. Whether it's, again, all the things that I feel like is purposeful, like getting up in the morning and doing this, or the GSL platform and everything that I've had to do with that, or whether it's, the things I do at the church, all the things throughout my life has brought me to this point where I'm using the skills and stuff that God has given me over the years to complete the current task of I guess my assignment, right? And so yeah, I mean, I guess that goes back to if you're someone that is struggling with this and you're like, maybe you don't know again what your passions or maybe you feel like you have skills, or of course, because we all do, right? We all have gifts and skills and things like that. But sometimes we think that those things aren't important, right? Or we think that those things are like, oh, that's just something I do, or oh, that's just something I like, or how can God use this or use that? I mean, you never know, man. I sit here and think about all the time, like especially when I'm like making bags at the church and stuff like that. I think about those times that I had with my mom, and I was just, well, one, I used the gifts and skills of making flyers and things like that for a lot of the content and stuff y'all see for GSL. I mean, it's a blessing now. I got Elizabeth on the team that she kind of makes things for me now. But a lot of the stuff, especially in the beginning, I was creating like the covers y'all see on the YouTube, like, all that different type of stuff, right? And those are skills that got cultivated in me at a young age while I was making things, for my mom and her organization and different events that she would host and stuff like that. Even hosting events is something that I kind of grew up with. I remember reading a book that my mom had all about, parties and things like that. And, what it took to make parties and just all those different type of things. And so, again, all of the skills and talents and things that we learn along our life and years can play a part in your purpose, right? It can play a part in your quote unquote assignment. Even the little stuff, like that's what I was saying earlier about like making favor bags with her all those years ago. Now I'm making, the take home bags and things like that at the church. It's just one of those things where it's like you just never know how God is going to use, each and every thing about you. And so let's talk real quick about let me give you guys another verse, I guess. Yeah, let me do that. So Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." The Lord knows the thoughts he thinks about us. Now, again, if you're somebody that acknowledges God and things like that, then you can appreciate this, right? You can sit here and say, you know what? The Lord thinks something great about me. And obviously he has a plan for me, and he already knows what it's going to be. And so he's just getting me there, right? Like you see those quotes all the time, like, the plan is, I can't, I feel like I'm going to butcher it right now, but it's kind of like something along the lines of, God is preparing you ultimately. Like, the plan is already in place, so he's preparing you to walk and know whatever the plan is. I know I butchered it, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, so yes, God has all these amazing plans and things that he thinks about us. Now, if you're somebody, again, that you don't acknowledge God at all, then how would you know anything about his plan? How could you trust that his plan is good, right? Things of that nature. Now, that's something that you got to answer for yourself, right? I can't make that, I guess, answer for you. But the only thing I can say is that as somebody that's, walking this journey out and everything like that, even though things look different, right? Things don't look like a quote unquote actress's life or actresses, whatever, you know what I mean? Like what I thought, like, or whatever was going to be. But when I did, seek the Lord at that time and say, hey, Lord, okay, well, let me go with whatever you want me to do, or whatever the case may be, it has been a beautiful, fulfilling life. Like, I mean, I share these things with you guys all the time that, to finally be in a place of contentment is a beautiful thing for me, because I was always not content. I was not that in the past. I was always, and then I was confused about it too, to be honest. Like, it's an interesting time, the cultivation period. But I can sit here today and say, hey, man, I'm not worried about anything. I know that can be weird for a lot of people. They're like, oh, you going through life. you're an adult. Adulting is bad. Adulting is hard. You're right. There's a lot of things that are, can be difficult about adulting and, marriage and motherhood and all the things, right? But I'm not necessarily worried about any of that. And I know that sounds crazy to probably most people, but I'm telling y'all what it is. It's the Lord at the end of the day. It's not anything that has to do only solely with me. I feel like that's what has brought me the peace that surpasses all understanding, like the Bible tells us. So, let me give you guys some practical steps, right? Because, again, I know there's plenty of verses that you guys can go ahead and peruse. I put a few more that, hopefully will help us to get an understanding of, what our assignments could be and things like that. But if you want some practical steps on how to know what your assignment is, then check these things out, y'all, okay? So first thing is that we need to do is to spend time in prayer. I know y'all like, ooh, pray. Everybody always say pray. But yeah, I mean, God tells us to talk to him all the time, right? He say, pray without ceasing and everything like that. Matter of fact, me and NJ listened to a video that he picked randomly yesterday, and it was just around prayer and everything like that. And even afterwards, we ended up praying together and stuff too after we watched that video. But regardless, I mean, I don't know if you need to watch the video too, but unfortunately I didn't write down the information. But I mean, I'm sure you guys can Google or go to YouTube, whatever, and plug in, prayer and all that type of stuff and get, plenty of information about prayer itself. But yeah, it's communicating with the Lord, right? It's not about us telling him because he already knows, but it's about us just, again, that relationship aspect of being with him, right? It's one thing to say you have a relationship and you never talk. I mean, again, there's no, dare I say, growth in that. Like, I mean, I can't imagine, obviously being married and never talking to my husband or, never talking to my son or, whatever the case may be. Like, so yeah, I mean, obviously communication is important. So the Lord wants us to communicate with him. And then not only just talk, but we got to listen as well. So spend time in prayer. Next, observe your strengths and passions. Okay. At some point, again, if you're somebody that really feels like, oh, I don't do anything good, that's not true. That's a lie. So observe yourself, right? Observe what makes you, quote unquote, tick. Observe what you like. Observe what you do that brings you joy. Yeah, make some observations about yourself. I mean, I can sit here and try to explain a variety of ways that you could do this, but I ain't got time to do that. So you go deeper about that. But yeah, observe your strengths and your passions. Seek godly counsel. Yes. Oh God. Okay. We talk about this all the time as well, but I mean, yes, a multitude of counsel, but godly counsel in particular, because again, you can get all kinds of feedback, right? There's people that can tell you, everything against the word of God and say that that's advice, right? So being intentional about seeking godly counsel, it can, again, help you to understand your God-given assignment. Again, I mean, I don't know. Do I need to explain godly counsel versus non-godly counsel and why that's important? I don't know if I need to do that. I mean, y'all can go in the comment section and say, "Hey, Miracle, you need to explain that." But I think it's self-explanatory, so I'm gonna keep going. Practice spiritual disciplines. Yes, okay. So there's a lot of things there. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of verses that talks about spiritual giftings and things of that nature. And so, obviously, you can seek the Lord about what it is. If you haven't operated or practiced or walked in any type of spiritual gift at all, then I guess that's one of the things you can be seeking the Lord about. Reading those verses and saying to the Lord, okay, Lord, which one of these is for me. And then practice that thing, whatever it is. I feel like you'll know deep down in your mind and you get that inkling, whatever it is. Maybe as you're reading the verse, you'll get the inkling. Or if you are, again, praying and seeking the Lord and things of that nature, he'll let you know at some point. And you can start walking in those gifts. So I finished up the binge watching of Queen Sugar, and it was interesting because, again, I know that one of the main characters or whatever was, tapping back into her what she felt like was a gift passed down from her mom and things of that nature. And at first she felt like it had gone away from her. But ultimately, she got encouraged that it's still in you and, X, Y, and Z. And so I guess she was practicing and studying and things of that nature. So if the world, right, feels like they need to practice and study, those giftings that they feel like they have, then how much more should we do that as believers, right? How much more should we be practicing and studying and seeking the Lord for, again, the wisdom or whatever it is to do the spiritual gifting that He has assigned to us, right? Just something to think about. Let me go ahead and give you guys this last thing. Let me see. Was that it? Practice it. I put pray again, even though but I just added that myself and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, again, we should just always be praying, y'all. Look, ABP, always be praying. So man, this is pretty much the gist this morning, man. I don't have too much else to add to these things. I mean, ultimately, again, there's a lot of ways that you can find out what your spiritual gift is, and how to, how to know your assignment and things of that nature. I mean, ultimately, all of us are assigned to, again, go and make disciples and things of that nature. The Great Commission is for each and every one of us. So if you don't know nothing else, at least know that now. You know what I mean? You are a part of that mission. And so, again, however the Lord leads you to do that, is, I guess, up to you and Him and things like that. But I mean, that's ultimately the juice, man. I hope that this helps you understand what your assignment is. And yep, that's the juice. Now the Bible verse of today is Micah 6:8, and it says, He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Just a reminder, tomorrow is Friday, y'all, so we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out at 7 p.m. It's with Miss Ashley Irvin. She's an author, and she is the curator of Awakened Imagination. She writes children's books and things of that nature. So check her out tomorrow on the GSL Talk Show, and I look forward to talking to you all then, if the Lord's will. Well, tomorrow morning, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.